Johnny Depp's return to the Hollywood spotlight has officially begun with a dramatic transformation that has fans around the world stunned. The first look from his much-anticipated comeback film, Day Drinker, was unveiled on April 15, 2025, and the buzz surrounding it has reached a fever pitch. Depp, who has remained relatively low-key in recent years following a storm of legal battles, intense media scrutiny, and a period of retreat from the mainstream spotlight, appears almost unrecognizable in this new role. His appearance marks a sharp departure from the swashbuckling charm of Captain Jack Sparrow or the eccentric charisma of Willy Wonka. In Day Drinker, Depp embodies a character steeped in grit, world weariness, and a rugged realism that has fans and critics alike doing a double take. With gaunt features, weathered skin, and a haunted expression, Depp's portrayal signals not only a new chapter in his acting repertoire, but also a potentially defining moment in his storied career. The first images from Day Drinker show Depp as a solitary middle-aged man cloaked in a weather-beaten coat. His eyes are shadowed by deep-set wrinkles, and his once lustrous hair now appears as a tangled mess of gray and ash-blonde strands. The transformation is so complete and convincing that even longtime fans have admitted they had to look twice before realizing it was, in fact, Johnny Depp. This is not the dashing heartthrob of the 1990s or the enigmatic anti-hero of the early 2000s. This is a character carved out of hardship, introspection, and perhaps even a reflection of the actor's own turbulent journey in recent years. The rawness of the look is intentional, crafted meticulously to depict a man whose life has been marred by pain, addiction, and isolation, central themes in the storyline of Day Drinker. This role represents more than just another film for Depp. It is a resurrection of sorts, a testament to resilience in the face of personal and professional adversity. The haunting visuals hint at a narrative deeply rooted in emotional struggle. Sources close to the production have hinted that Depp immersed himself in the role to a degree rarely seen, reportedly spending weeks studying individuals recovering from substance abuse and emotional trauma in order to capture the essence of a man trapped in his own despair. The character's internal conflict mirrors the emotional turbulence Depp has faced in the public eye, particularly in the wake of his defamation trial and its lingering aftermath. His decision to take on such a raw, emotionally taxing role speaks volumes about his commitment to re-establishing himself, not just as a star, but as an actor of extraordinary depth and authenticity. The film, directed by Oscar-nominated filmmaker Lena Foresight, promises to be a gripping psychological drama. Foresight, known for her nuanced storytelling and character-driven narratives, is said to have written the lead role specifically with Depp in mind. Insiders from the set describe an emotionally intense atmosphere where scenes often left the crew stunned by Depp's vulnerability and dedication. The plot reportedly follows a once successful man grappling with the aftermath of broken relationships, estranged family ties, and years lost to alcohol and regret. Depp's character, though fictional, is said to carry a striking emotional resonance that is likely to hit close to home for many viewers, and perhaps even for Depp himself. Industry analysts are already speculating that this could be a comeback, not just in name, but in legacy. If Day Drinker delivers on the emotional and cinematic weight suggested by its initial imagery, it could mark the beginning of a new era in Johnny Depp's career. Gone is the caricatured eccentric. In his place stands a weathered, deeply human portrayal of sorrow, resilience, and the long road to redemption. The character Johnny Depp portrays in Day Drinker is a haunting reflection of a man once filled with promise, now hollowed by life's relentless hardships. A former jazz musician whose career was derailed by alcoholism and deep-rooted mental health struggles, the character lives in self-imposed exile, estranged from society and consumed by the echoes of a past he cannot reclaim. The story unfolds against the evocative backdrop of a rain-soaked New Orleans, its moody atmosphere mirroring the internal storms of the protagonist. The film explores complex and often painful themes, such as redemption, memory, regret, and the fragile line that separates genius from madness. It is a portrait not of a fall from grace, but of the long, often silent suffering that follows it. Director Lena Foresight, renowned for her emotionally textured storytelling, reportedly sought Depp for this role not only because of his formidable acting range, but because of the emotional truth he could bring to a character so profoundly broken. She saw in Depp a lived-in authenticity, shaped by his own tumultuous journey that could elevate the performance from compelling to unforgettable. According to sources within the production, Foresight encouraged Depp to draw from his personal reservoir of pain and introspection, and the result, even in the brief glimpses offered through teaser images, has already sparked an intense response from the public. The visuals are arresting. Depp's gaunt face, his distant gaze, the weariness in his posture, speaking volumes about the life his character has endured. Social media platforms such as X, formerly Twitter, and Instagram have become hotbeds of passionate debate since the film's first stills were released. Reactions have ranged from admiration to concern, with many praising Depp's commitment to authenticity, applauding his willingness to abandon vanity in service of a role so stripped of glamour. Some have even called the transformation mesmerizing, a testament to the kind of fearlessness only the most dedicated actors display. On the other end of the spectrum, a segment of fans expressed worry, wondering whether Depp's emaciated and haunted appearance reflected a deeper personal decline. However, production insiders have reassured audiences that the look was entirely manufactured through the meticulous efforts of professional makeup artists, prosthetic teams, costume designers, and lighting experts working in tandem to craft a visual aesthetic aligned with the film's tone. Co-star Naomi Watts, who plays a weary but hopeful social worker trying to guide Depp's character back from the brink, described working with him as a profound experience. She recounted moments when Depp remained in character between takes, often isolating himself in quiet corners of the set to preserve the psychological intensity of his performance. According to Watts, there were scenes so emotionally charged that the energy felt almost sacred, as though Depp were undergoing a personal exorcism rather than merely acting. Foresight echoed these sentiments in early press, stating that Depp gave the role everything he had. She recounted one particularly emotional climax in the film that left much of the crew in tears, citing it as a moment of raw, unfiltered humanity. "He bared his soul," Foresight said. "This film isn't about tidy redemption arcs. It's about the ugly, complicated truth of being human." Johnny understood that completely. The timing of Day Drinker could not be more significant. Following his highly publicized and contentious legal battles with ex-wife Amber Heard, Depp became one of the most polarizing figures in Hollywood. While his loyal fan base continued to champion his name and advocated for his return to franchises like Fantastic Beasts and Pirates of the Caribbean, a broader debate persisted about his place in an industry increasingly defined by accountability and a public image. In the face of such scrutiny, Depp quietly stepped back from blockbuster films, redirecting his focus to indie projects and music. His role in the French film Jean du Barry and his touring with the Hollywood Vampires Band allowed him to maintain creative momentum while remaining largely out of the American media spotlight. With Day Drinker, however, Depp appears poised to make a definitive statement, not as a redeemed celebrity, but as an artist who has evolved. Gone are the flamboyant characters, the heavily stylized performances, and the quirky mannerisms that once defined him. In their place is a performance marked by subtlety, pain, and soul. Industry analysts believe this could mark the start of a new era in Depp's career, one shaped by vulnerability and emotional truth. The film's early buzz has even sparked speculation about awards potential, with insiders hinting that Depp's performance could earn him a seat at the table during the upcoming awards season. Set for a limited theatrical release in the fall, with a broader rollout planned for the winter circuit, Day Drinker is shaping up to be more than just a film. It may be a cultural moment. One that redefines Johnny Depp not as a fallen star clawing his way back, but as a masterful performer who never truly left, just waited for the right story to tell. Ultimately, Johnny Depp's unrecognizable appearance in Day Drinker transcends mere physical transformation. It represents a full-circle moment in a career marked by both extraordinary acclaim and deeply personal tribulations. Gone is the polished Hollywood figure known for his offbeat charm and iconic characters. In his place stands an actor stripped to his emotional core, embodying a persona that speaks to the human experience in its rawest form. This metamorphosis is not about shock value or publicity. It's about redefinition. Depp is stepping into a new artistic space, one that demands vulnerability over glamour, reflection over performance, and truth over facade. Critics who once dismissed him as a relic of a bygone Hollywood era are beginning to reassess his place in the industry's evolving narrative. No longer pigeonholed by past roles or controversies, Depp's portrayal in Day Drinker forces a reconsideration of his talent and relevance. As Hollywood becomes increasingly attuned to themes of redemption, trauma, and authenticity, Depp's role seems less like a comeback and more like a reinvention. His character, a broken man navigating the wreckage of his former life, serves as a metaphor not only for personal healing, but also for the cyclical nature of celebrity in the public eye. In this way, Day Drinker becomes a vessel for broader cultural conversations around mental health, addiction, isolation, and the burden of fame. The significance of Depp aligning himself with Lena Foresight, a daring voice in a new generation of filmmakers, cannot be overstated. Foresight, celebrated for her fearless exploration of uncomfortable truths, brings a fresh yet emotionally astute sensibility to her storytelling. Their collaboration is more than a strategic career move, it's a mutual creative ignition. In Nye, behind-the-scenes footage, the synergy between them is palpable. Depp listens intently as Foresight discusses the emotional temperature of each scene, and she in turn defers to his instincts when refining the subtleties of the character's psyche. This partnership symbolizes an evolution in Depp's approach to his craft. No longer the lone auteur or eccentric lead, he's now a collaborator, willing to be guided, willing to be challenged. The film's title, Day Drinker, functions as a hauntingly poetic metaphor for both the character and perhaps Depp himself. It conjures images of someone who has abandoned convention and embraced chaos, yet remains tethered to a flicker of longing for connection and clarity. That contradiction lies at the heart of the character's journey, and it resonates deeply with Depp's own life, spent under the unrelenting scrutiny of fame, bouncing between reverence and reproach. The audience is invited not just to watch the character's descent and possible redemption, but to engage in a kind of psychological mirror test. Much like a Rorschach inkblot, Depp's persona has become something people project their own beliefs, biases, and hopes onto. Some see a tormented genius, others a cautionary tale, but through this role, Depp finally has a chance to author that perception on his own terms. In a rare but revealing public comment, Depp articulated the deeply personal connection he felt to this role. Released through his agent, his statement read, "This project came to me at a time when I was searching for silence, for reflection. It gave me a mirror to look into, and while what I saw wasn't always easy, it was necessary." These words struck a chord with both fans and industry peers, shedding light on the emotional excavation required to bring such a layered performance to life. Rather than a mere acting gig, Day Drinker appears to have functioned as a cathartic reckoning, a space where art and real life converged in powerful, transformative ways. For longtime fans, the film represents more than a milestone in Depp's career. It's an intimate window into the soul of an actor they've watched evolve over decades. It's a reminder that behind the headlines and the iconic roles lies a man shaped by both triumphs and failures, searching, like his character, for a place of meaning amid the wreckage. In the end, Day Drinker is not just a film about a man lost in the fog of his past. It's a statement, an invitation, and perhaps even a legacy-defining moment for Johnny Depp, a testament to the enduring power of vulnerability, honesty, and the quiet courage to begin again. The prosthetic team's role was critical in shaping Johnny Depp's startling appearance in Day Drinker, and their efforts went far beyond traditional makeup. Every wrinkle, blemish, and discoloration was painstakingly constructed to mirror the passage of time, the wear of emotional trauma, and the physical manifestations of a life in decline. The transformation was executed with such precision that it blurred the line between actor and character, reality and fiction. Specialists in facial prosthetics collaborated closely with Depp to ensure that the weight of his character's burdens showed not just on the surface, but through every gesture and nuance. His cheekbones appear more sunken, his complexion ashen and pallid, and his eyes are made to look perpetually rimmed with fatigue, giving the impression of a man teetering on the edge. The team also adjusted the contours of his face and body, subtly altering his silhouette to reflect years of neglect and solitude. These changes did not just serve aesthetic purposes, they were an essential part of building a character whose tragedy is etched into his very skin. What makes Depp's transformation even more compelling is how seamlessly it aligns with the film's psychological themes. Day Drinker is not merely a story of addiction or loneliness. It's a study of identity fragmentation, of a man who has become a ghost of his former self. Depp's performance, intensified by these visual cues, feels more like a descent than an arc, eschewing traditional redemptive tropes in favor of quiet existential decay. In interviews, crew members have recalled how deeply Depp internalized his character. Even between takes, he often remained withdrawn, speaking in hushed tones and avoiding eye contact, as if unwilling or unable to break free from the mental space he had submerged himself in. This method approach has drawn comparisons to the likes of Daniel Day-Lewis and Joaquin Phoenix, actors known for their intense immersion and emotional transparency. It is not a performance built to dazzle. It is built to disturb, to resonate, to linger in the viewer's consciousness long after the credits roll. The setting of New Orleans, with its haunting blend of beauty and brokenness, adds an almost mythic layer to Depp's portrayal. The choice of this city, a place often associated with spirits, jazz, and decay, was no accident. Its ghostly ambiance serves as both a character and a mood board, amplifying the protagonist's internal disintegration. Sound design is also crucial here. The faint notes of a saxophone, the murmur of distant rain, the clinking of a glass, all become symbolic echoes of the man's past life as a musician and the present he's unable to escape. Depp's own connection to New Orleans brought an additional layer of authenticity to the production. His understanding of its soul, its contrasts, and its contradictions helped him tap into the emotional truth of the role in ways that would be difficult for someone unfamiliar with its heartbeat. Behind the camera, Lena Foresight's precision in shaping every aspect of the film's mood can be felt in every frame. Her partnership with cinematographer Giancarlo Reyes resulted in a haunting visual language, one that is intimate, voyeuristic, and at times almost surreal. The grainy texture of the film, the subtle use of handheld shots during the characters' more chaotic episodes, and the deliberate pauses in editing all contribute to a feeling of temporal suspension, as if time itself has become irrelevant in this man's existence. There's a palpable tension in the air, one that stretches across long silences and empty rooms, drawing viewers into the protagonist's increasingly fractured mind. Foresight's decision to let the camera linger, to allow the stillness to speak as loudly as any line of dialogue, shows a deep understanding of psychological storytelling. It's not just about what is shown, it's about what is withheld. As the film nears its release, industry insiders have begun to speculate about the potential impact Day Drinker might have, not just on Depp's career, but on the film landscape itself. It's rare to see a mainstream actor of Depp's stature commit so fully to a role that deconstructs his own mythos. In many ways, it's a meta-commentary, an actor shedding the skin of the roles that made him a legend to explore the very human cost of that fame. And that act of artistic bravery, supported by the film's aesthetic, narrative, and thematic cohesion, could very well redefine the standards of comeback performances. It doesn't matter whether Day Drinker becomes a box office hit. What matters is that it's already proving to be a work of art, with emotional heft and creative integrity, anchored by a performance that reminds the world exactly who Johnny Depp is, and more importantly, who he has become. Film forums and Reddit threads are buzzing with analysis, diving deep into the emotional resonance and technical precision behind Johnny Depp's transformation in Day Drinker. Viewers are parsing every frame of the trailer, examining lighting, posture, vocal cadence, and even eye movement to understand how Depp has so completely embodied this broken character. The online discourse mirrors the intensity of the performance itself, raw, unfiltered, and filled with admiration. Fan art, tribute videos, and long-form breakdowns are populating platforms like TikTok and YouTube, with creators comparing Depp's new role to past powerhouse performances by actors who pushed their physical and emotional limits to portray tortured souls. His gaunt appearance and haunted expression have been likened to Matthew McConaughey's in Dallas Buyers Club, Christian Bale's emaciated look in The Machinist, and even Mickey Rourke's vulnerable comeback in The Wrestler. What these roles share is not just physical transformation, but a commitment to exposing internal scars in a way that is deeply personal and universally relatable. Behind this swell of appreciation is a growing recognition that Day Drinker may be a watershed moment, not just for Depp, but for the way Hollywood treats its comeback narratives. This isn't a studio-mandated image rehabilitation. It doesn't rely on nostalgia or franchise loyalty. Instead, Depp's performance signals something far more rare in modern celebrity culture: artistic vulnerability. There's no safety net in this film, no quirky charm, no pirate swagger, no fantastical prosthetics to hide behind. Just a man sitting in his own wreckage, searching for something real. This level of emotional exposure is what's captivating. Critics who have long written Depp off as either too eccentric or too controversial to be taken seriously again. Now, they're reassessing, not just the man, but the body of work he's built, and where this latest role fits within that canon. This careful attention to detail, both in Depp's physical transformation and the film's aesthetic choices, reinforces the film's commitment to authenticity. The deliberate wear and tear of the wardrobe mirror the emotional decay of his character, each item symbolizing a moment lost, a relationship strained, or a regret that can't be undone. The understated costume choices allow the audience to focus on the essence of the character rather than the artifice of his appearance, further deepening the film's exploration of identity and redemption. It's clear that every aspect of Day Drinker, from the performances to the visuals, has been crafted to strip away pretense, urging viewers to confront not just the character, but the raw truths within themselves. This careful balance between vulnerability and subtlety is what sets the film apart, making it not just an acting showcase, but an emotional experience that lingers long after the credits roll. The understated intensity of Depp's performance in this moment is a testament to his growth as an actor and his willingness to surrender to the raw, painful emotions that the character demands. It's not just about playing a role, it's about inviting the audience into a deeply private moment of loss and vulnerability. The silence between the words speaks volumes, and the quiet weight of his grief lingers long after the scene has ended. This approach marks a shift in Depp's career, one that values authenticity and emotional complexity over spectacle, and it may well redefine how audiences view him moving forward. The sheer honesty in his portrayal is what makes this moment, and the film as a whole, feel so deeply human. This emotional precision, layered with symbolic choices throughout the film, has inspired a sense of communal ownership among fans. They're dissecting every shot, theorizing over the meaning of certain objects: a cracked glass, a faded photograph, a jazz record with a broken sleeve, treating the film like a poem to be interpreted rather than just a story to be consumed. In doing so, they're turning Day Drinker into something more than just a movie. It's becoming an emotional event. And the fact that this is happening organically, without a heavy promotional push or viral marketing gimmicks, speaks to the potency of Depp's presence and the sincerity of the project. For Hollywood, the success of Day Drinker, whether in accolades or audience impact, could mark a turning point in how comeback stories are crafted and received. Instead of distancing themselves from controversy or attempting to rebrand with artificial polish, actors and filmmakers might take a cue from Depp and embrace emotional transparency as the most powerful form of redemption. In a media landscape, often saturated with superficial narratives and curated personas, Depp's performance reminds everyone of what cinema can still do at its best. It can tell the truth. And sometimes, when truth is given space to unfold without judgment or agenda, it becomes something transcendent. That's the real magic of Day Drinker. It doesn't just mark the return of Johnny Depp, it signals the return of honest storytelling. This willingness to shed every layer of protective identity is what makes Day Drinker not just a film, but a cultural moment. Johnny Depp's transformation isn't simply physical, it's spiritual, psychological, and artistic. He is no longer the enigmatic performer hidden behind elaborate costumes and whimsical personas. In this role, he strips himself of all that artifice and steps into the harsh light of emotional authenticity. The lines on his face, the slowness of his movements, the way his eyes linger on nothing in particular, all of it contributes to a portrait of a man unraveling. And yet, there is grace in the unraveling. There is courage in exposing the frayed edges of a life lived out loud, yet painfully alone. This deliberate approach allows Day Drinker to stand apart from the barrage of mainstream cinema. In an era where films often feel like fast food, Quick, satisfying, but easily forgotten, Day Drinker is a slow burn, inviting its audience to sit with the discomfort, to process emotions without the pressure of resolution. Every moment is designed to be absorbed, not just watched. The film asks questions without offering clear answers, encouraging viewers to reflect on their own struggles, whether with addiction, grief, or self-identity. In doing so, it fosters a unique connection between the screen and the audience, making the experience feel personal, raw, and transformative. This transformation, deeply rooted in personal evolution rather than professional necessity, marks a rare moment in contemporary cinema, a point where vulnerability becomes the vehicle for reinvention. Depp isn't merely reclaiming his space in the industry, he's reshaping the expectations of what it means to endure as an artist. His willingness to invite viewers into his pain, to sit with shame and unravel emotional scars, speaks volumes in a world saturated with performative authenticity. Day Drinker is more than a film, it's a statement, a mirror, and a quiet revolution. If it succeeds, it may shift the paradigm of storytelling in Hollywood for years to come.